Pretty nasty close in the markets yesterday. I raised some more cash, took some profits. We will review that. There's not a lot that I like to the upside, but there's a few. We're going to review those as well, and I will give you the list of shorts I am looking at. But jumping in here to the SPY with some market breadth, I have a new gray zone here. This is my new no trade zone, okay? It's not a hard no trade, right? Should something happen, maybe give a bit more directional clarity, then maybe I'll change that, but I'm not looking to do too much inside of this lighter gray zone. And for me, what that means is, look, we have just lost the most recent swing low, closed below it, okay? So that's not a great look. If we jump over quickly to the weekly here, things don't look quite as bad here on the weekly. I'm still looking at the 670 as my real line in the sand to where I might get aggressive with shorting the market and some of these turds that I have that we'll discuss here today. But, yeah, this is not what we wanted to see. If we were leaning bullish, but, with the events over the weekend, it's just not that surprising. And I would say that it wasn't a violent sell-off. It wasn't a broad dump of everything. There was some strength out there. Typically when, everything is being sold is maybe when I would invalidate some of these levels and maybe look to get a bit aggressive, because you know how I do, right? I want to wait for confirmation. So right now we're smack in the middle of this range, and any build below would be something I would be interested in shorting the market, and an invalidation getting back above prior all-time highs, maybe we need to get aggressive to the long side. But I know it's been really for months now inside of this has, I wouldn't say frustrating, but it's been a time where I've had to exercise self-control, and I'm taking trades here and there, very small size. Let's review a couple of those. I just exited the U's yesterday, UUUU, and I got 112.5%, I believe it was, 112.5% on these contracts. Ripped out of the gates yesterday, and I put in a sell order out. I got in down here, the contracts were $4 a piece, and I put an order out at $8.50 to sell, and things just, we'll pull up the 5-minute. You can see it absolutely ripped out of the gate, and by the time I looked back at it, and I was trying to actually go cancel that order, which was placed right about at this level, I tried to go cancel it and see if I could get a little bit more. And yeah, it filled. So look, I'm not upset with getting my targets, right? This was a 2.75 R, right? So nearly a 3 R return. I'm never going to complain about hitting my targets, guys. Yes, this is even looking at the overnight market. This is all the way up in the 24s now at this point. So maybe left a little bit of money on the table, but I did mention in chat just before market open that, hey, I'm probably going to close out that use position. I'm right near profit. We got that rip out of the gate, so I actually hit my profit targets. Happy to take it, but what I said in that was, if uranium is really going to make a sustained move, it's going to give another triple R where I can look to reinitiate. Okay, so we have this resistance above. Let's see how things shake out, right? Do we blast through it and then set up a triple R above? That would be fantastic, okay? And I would look to reinitiate. I do like the narrative or the theme of uranium right now, absolutely. It's why I got into it. I thought that it had a chance to be a leading theme early in the year. And yeah, perfect trade, worked out exactly as I hoped when entered, so no complaints here at all. Happy to get that cash back. I also exited my nail position, which was a recent entry. I did exit it just above profits. I said in chat, call it flat. I think I made like 1 or 2%, somewhere in that range, somewhere between 1 and 2%. So a flat trade, okay? But I think I would rather have the cash right now. The trade is not broken, not yet per se, and I did say that when I entered it, that swing low was my stop. But, with the way the market environment was, I would prefer to just have that cash and reassess, okay? We'll see how things shake out. Give the market a few days. I expect a tweet here at some point. Things got a little nasty yesterday, right? But again, it wasn't violent, but we did get a bit of a pop here on the 10-year. So we'll have to watch. This is not something that the administration wants to see. They don't want the long-term rates rising. They want mortgages to come down. They want rates to come down, all of it, right? It aligns with the push they're initiating into midterms. I expect some counter tweeting to any sort of down moves. So I'm not going to get too aggressive too fast on the shorts. I do want to wait for my confirmation. And yeah, we did breach the most recent swing low. So If we're going to be shorting things, that's a good first look. But if we can invalidate, get back over the 50 and build above, then, that would be an invalidation of that short idea. I did see that the RSP open interest, short open interest, was all-time high. You could lean into that and think like, hey, everyone's short on the market, I should be too. But, that's also the kind of thing that gamma squeezes are built from. So I want to be careful. I want to make sure that I'm waiting for confirmation. I am not afraid to trade at the short side. I am a swing trader, okay? If I get a solidified trend with follow through, I don't care which direction that is. My models work, okay? They are trend continuation. 5 out of 6 of my models are trend continuation models. So as long as we can solidify a trend, I'm happy to trade downside price action. I want to wait for the confirmation. So for me, that looks like getting below this swing low here at the 670, confirming below. I'll start looking very closely at shorts at that point. So looking at the RSP here, a little bit of damage done, sure, we'll say that, but guys, we have so much more room before we actually invalidate this uptrend that I'm just not overly worried yet. Same thing here with the IWM, and frankly, we didn't even lose the 9 on small caps, right? If this is going to be a full-on market crash, we're going to start losing levels in small caps, guys. This is typically one of those things that you see go first when it is a full-on sound the alarm, sell everything market. Small caps tends to be the first to roll. So I would say this kind of held up a little bit, if I'm being honest, all right? The VIX is clearly elevated. I always say the 2050 level is where I can really see the volatility. Things get jumpy, okay, on the VIX. When you start hanging out around this 2050 level, it's where I've always noticed things to get quite jumpy. So pull your size back, okay, until we get clarity. If you're going to force trades at this time, that's up to you, but I would at least say pull that size back, because I think we're in a place where things might get jumpy. You might need to widen stops. So in that case, for me, what works to do that without any added emotional pressure is just sizing down, okay? And we did also lose crypto here. We lost the 50. And guys, this is exactly what I've been calling for a couple of weeks here. This is a bear flag in crypto. I know everybody was saying that this pop, we're going to all-time highs, and I said at least a half dozen times, guys, we're just popping right up into the bottom of the long-term trend. If we fail that and roll back and lose the 50, more specifically, I kept saying, if we lose this cyan line and build below it, fail below it, it's a short, okay? It's a short to the prior cycle high is what I'm looking at. All right, that is just simply what I'm looking at. If we lose that bottom cyan line, come back, retest, and fail, I'm very likely to short the crypto market if that happens. So we'll just have to see, again, waiting for confirmation there, but doesn't look great. And we'll start with some of the things that I think do look decent. Minerals, resources, still holding up. I did just take a trade here on CRML. I got 102% on this move. Through the top of this range would be a continuation of this move. Let's jump over to the weekly and see what we got here. Yeah, my trade has triggered. My models have triggered. But if this is going, the one thing that I like that Jim Cramer says is there's always a bull market somewhere, right? I agree with that. And if it's going to remain the resources market, clearing this range is actually pretty attractive to me. I don't know that I'll take it through it. What is that, at about 19 level? I don't know that I'll jump into that. That's sort of reverting back to the way I used to trade, which is breakout trading. I don't like to do that. So, what I'll probably end up doing is forcing myself to wait for my model, which would be the next triple R above this level. Okay. And then we've got USAR, almost the exact same look right here. I think through yesterday's high, this one's a little bit more attractive to me as we clear this larger range. I think through yesterday's high, what would that be, about 2030? A little bit more attractive. Let's check the weekly here. Yeah, a little bit tighter on this. This hasn't made quite as big of a move as CRML just yet. But again, guys, I'm totally okay with letting this run, okay? And then pull back, confirm above, giving my triple R above. That's a higher probability trade than trying to buy this breakout. MP is another one that we should be watching. Same deal. I think through yesterday's high would be a continuation. So we're sort of flagging out right at this level, and a continuation through, if you want to trade that breakout, go for it. But again, the next triple R is more attractive to me. And then we've got copper. I want to keep an eye on this. This was very strong again yesterday. My favorite stock out there right now might be FCX. just didn't give that macro pullback. I was hoping we got below. I was hoping that we gapped down below the 9 and we could look to take this thing through. So it might keep running away. That's totally fine, guys. I will wait for the next triple R here, and I'll very likely take it. So if we can get this guy to get down below, retracement, reaction at or under level, and remount of the 9 would be a clean trigger for me there in FCX. But I'm looking at copper, keeping an eye here on this. Okay, same deal. I would really sort of need this to pull back and just hold above the 50 or this prior breakout level, and then re-trigger on the 9. That'll set up FCX. SCOO is another one that I'm watching very closely in the copper trade. So we just need to let they're hot, they're running off, they're running away from us. Totally fine. The next triple R is high probability. We got LITE. This was very strong yesterday, and God, absolute textbook triple R trigger right here, retracement. Well, strong company in a trend, respecting structure backed by growing fundamentals, and we look for a retracement, reaction, remount. Retracement, reaction, remount. Reaction at or around our level, okay? So, I mean, this was so textbook, but I couldn't take it, right, with the market rolling the way that it was. But worth noting, okay, the relative strength here is worth noting. So if we do get invalidation in the market, I would expect this thing to run and stuff like that, but this is pretty high up on watch for the next triple R. It sucks that I couldn't take this one. And we'll even move that over to SCO, Victoria's Secret. Exact same thoughts here. I don't want to repeat myself, but I really wanted this triple R trigger yesterday. I really, really did. I'm not going to battle the market. Okay. I'm not going to try to name pick. I want the entire momentum of the market behind my positioning, okay? And we don't have that to the long side right now. I would say we don't have it to the short side just yet either, okay? I'm gonna wait for confirmation. Y'all know what I do. I'm a swing trader. I'm gonna wait until I can stack the probabilities in my favor. Another one that was strong was CRDO, so I do want to keep this guy on watch, right? Pretty decent relative strength here. I want to keep this guy on watch if the market does firm up a bit and doesn't break down. All right, CRDO is one to keep on watch. CVNA. God, this guy just continues to hold up, okay? It's continuing to hold up. So back over the 9 here on CVNA. If we happen to get like a pre-market tweet or something, I don't know, internals are firing. The market is immediately invalidating yesterday's move. There's broad, heavy buying everywhere. Yeah, this is kind of on my radar because I know people are trying to short Carvana. They have been and myself included. I got burned a time or two trying to short this guy. The trade is long on Carvana until proven otherwise. I mean, it has been holding structure and following through for years now. All right, so I have stopped trying to fight it myself. And again, I know people just initiated shorts are probably feeling pretty good, but if this guy starts to curl back up in triple Rs, they're going to have to clear out of there, and taking out all-time highs is on the table. And then Google is another one I do want to keep on watch if the market does invalidate yesterday's move. Back over yesterday's high and over the 9 is another triple R trigger for me here on Google. And let's get into the shorts. Again, I want to make a point, as I did yesterday, about trying to short the high beta names, the names that you don't think should be up here, right? Space did really well yesterday, I believe. RKLB. No? What was it that I noticed did really well? Oh, memory. Memory did well. We'll cover that in just a moment, but I still want to make that point there, like trying to short something like Rocket Lab or Space in the middle of this major theme. Good luck, right? Because if we get a snapback move in the market, these are the names that are going to snap back first, very likely. It's just what I've seen over the years, right? You want to be looking more at a list of stocks that are in clear and defined downtrends, okay? So something like Sprouts here, absolutely getting crushed. Put in another sideways range that we're breaking out of, so you can see for someone in Bootcamp earlier, I was drawing this out, but that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for it to fail this range, come back up, retest, fail it, and at that point maybe we're in a market that has confirmed to the downside as well. So you can see before we jump into this, I don't know, I've got maybe 12 shorts that I'm looking at off of my little devil here, my shorts list. If you want this list, just ask. I will copy it and link it to your comment below. Because that's, it's the same thing. It's what I'm looking for. I'm waiting for the confirmation. If we can align it with confirmation in the market, these all become high probability short setups. So some of my favorite names from this list are, as you see here, Sprouts, and then we've got CCOI. This is getting absolutely hammered. Clear downtrend, okay? Everything I do works to the downside. What do we see here? I talk about all the time, range breaks, box breakouts. Look at this multi-year range. What is that? Okay, this is exactly what I talk about all the time to the upside. I'll invert it for you really fast. I say, wait for it to break out of the range, okay, pull back, retest it, and re-trigger. Yeah, that happened on earnings. We wouldn't have got it, but the next one is high probability, guys. It is. It's that simple. So what I'm looking for here is this guy to fail the 50 with a market that is rolling as well. All right, you can see it gap down. It's trying to curl up a little bit. If it fails this 50, guys, we're very likely to test bottom of range. That's my short idea there on CC, what is this, OI. I would probably want to do something like this. Plenty of time before earnings. Okay, if the market's going to get nasty, I absolutely see that as a realistic trade. And then we've got everyone's favorite burrito here. All right, on the weekly, this is beginning to look a little bit nasty. So we lost our 200. We tried to retest it, fail, coming back, retesting again. If we fail, if we lose this 9, it's a triple R to the downside. Okay, it's just like when I say a change of character on volume to the upside. It's all the same stuff. Let it get over the 200, pull back, first triple R after. Look at that, it worked. Okay, yes, this was on earnings, wouldn't have gone for that one. But now that the first one is setting up post earnings, very high probability because we have not broken the current structure, the current trend. Okay, so a resumption of that trend is high probability, guys, and there's a trade to be had there. We'll do this right here. I knew it. Okay, I'm glad it didn't do that. Okay, we'll do, I'm sorry, this right here, initiate somewhere in that world. Swing low is our stop, and we are looking for a 2R before the next earnings. Let's go back to the daily. A little bit tight on that earnings. I don't love that. So that's going to have to move over to not my favorite on this list. We got about, what, 3 weeks maybe before that earnings? Less than 3 weeks. Not my favorite, I'll have to say. So let's look at some others. Penn, I'll go ahead and say here, I didn't look at earnings when I was doing these earlier, but same deal here. We're looking for a box breakout to the downside. Everything works the same. We went to breakout, come back, retest the box, fail, roll. That's a high probability short, especially if we've got the momentum of the market to the downside behind our positioning. It's all the same stuff, guys. Don't be afraid of shorting. Just don't try to predict, right? Like, don't try to short Rocket Lab because you want to be right, okay? Like, look for structure, short off of structure. Give yourself something, a place to set risk and reward off of, and do it within structure, trend continuation. It's all the same to the downside, and if the momentum of the market is bearish, guys, a lot of these are going to work. Got another one here on Cabo. Look at this. All right, we had our box breakout. We broke out, came back, retested the 50. It's okay if they come back into the range. We don't want it breaking structure. I would say this was probably the swing low here, but all it did was retrace right into the 50. That is also structural, okay? Reacted off of it, failed. That was a short right here, and look at that. Look at how well it worked, okay? So this is on watch. I do remember now, I put this here more for that example. It's like, this is what I'm talking about. It breaks out of the box, comes back, retest structure, and fails. That is a short. This day right here is a short. Okay, it's a triple R to the downside. I take these all the time. Let's look at RMBS. It's just the most recent box breakout that I can think of that I've taken. That's exactly what I did here in RMBS. It broke out of the box, came back into the box, re-triggered triple R. I took it. Okay, I made over 100% in this in a couple of days. Right? I left a lot of money on the table. I should have made like 200-300% on this trade, but whatever. We're all billionaires in hindsight. Another one that I just took would be Fanic. I'm out of this because I've just been raising cash. I only made like 7%, I believe it was, on this because I had to take shares. I was obviously looking for a bigger move, but I'm just not that confident in the current state of the markets, period, broadly, right? So I took my profits here. I would just rather have the cash. But anyways, guys, this is a box breakout. The reason I got into this, if you didn't see the videos when I was talking about it before I got into it or when I triggered it or when I took it, it was a box breakout, pulled back, retested the box, triple R, retracement, reaction, at or around our level, remount. That's what I took, okay? But anyways, back to this list of shorts. We do have a few more here that I'm actually quite interested in. This looks like it's probably a weekly trigger. Yeah, back under the 9, okay? So we are in lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, maybe a lower high. Okay, well then the odds are it's going to reinitiate trend and at least test that lower low level, possibly put in a new one. But even just on the way to testing it is 60 to 200% on the contracts, depending on the length that you choose. Okay, it's just that simple, guys. It's just that simple. I'm giving you the juice every day, guys. This is one that I'm looking for a continuation. So we did get a little bit of a box breakout, pulled back in. All right, if we can clear this low, that would solidify this box breakout. It would look something like this. Where do you think I would short it? Right there. Okay. All right, a few more of these. A couple of these are good here. Give me just a second. Coming up, it's clearly in a downtrend. Came back up, retested the 50. If we lose the 9, guys, that's a short. You do want to align it with, I mean, you don't want to, if I'm giving you a list of shorts here, if the market rips today and you go take shorts, don't do that, okay? We want the momentum of the market. We want the market selling off and losing levels. And if it does, I'm giving you 12 different ideas to be looking at for the short side, okay? OC, another one. Look at this. In a solidified downtrend. Look at that. Where do you think I'm going to short it? Right there, back through the 9, okay? Targeting recent. That's enough for 100%. If you want to leave on runners, do so. I typically just take my money, I pay the trader, and I move on. All right, QUBT. This is going to ruffle some feathers. People are super attached to quantum for some reason. I just don't get it, right? These people don't have products. Whatever, you know. We've lost it, okay? We're in a downtrend. We're under our 200. We cannot get back above. This is the worst looking one to me in the sector, and getting back below the 50 is a short, okay? If it aligns with downside pressure in the market, it's a short, and I think we probably clear these lows off of that move, okay? But if you want to wait, that's an even better short right there. ATS, looking at this on the weekly here, I mean, pretty solidified downtrend, trying to pop itself back up to that 200, just can't do it. It's rolling again, losing the 9 here on the weekly. I think through yesterday's low is the level that I would be looking for here on this one. PAR, lost the 200, trying to pop back up, can't do it. We got the weight of the market rolling over happening on us right now. If that continues, let this one clear range. What do you think I'm going to say? The next triple R to the downside after that range clears is pretty attractive to me. We got StubHub. People still going to concerts in America? Or how are you buying the tickets? Why is this so nasty? All right, recent IPO just cannot catch a sustained move higher. If we lose the 50 again here, StubHub is very likely going lower. If the market goes lower, this is going lower. Okay, so triple R trigger to the downside through the 50 here, about the 1350 area, looking for, you know, a retest of the prior lows. X-Ray, I recognize this guy. This thing just, it can't get going. These are turds, guys. These are turds. All right, these are the ones that you want to be shorting. If the market rolls, these are higher probability than trying to short the high beta current theme names that you don't think should be this high. Okay, don't try to overthink the market. Just trade the trend structure. Okay, continuations, confirmation. All right, this guy back down through the 50 is a nasty look that will very likely retest the prior low. And I think one more, IOSP. All right, guys, look at this. I mean, this thing's been falling apart for a while. This is nothing new. We've got some major structure below that could act as a magnet. Okay, just as I say to the upside sometimes when you get a change in character, but we had our clear change in character to the downside that retested, failed, and it just keeps failing. This might be our next fail. Let's get all of that mess out of the way because I don't like too many lines on my chart, and just realize that this is, if we invert it, what is this? Is a triple R trigger to the upside over the 50, okay? But that's just not the case. This is a short. If the market does continue to roll, this losing 76 is a short trigger. All right, triple R to the downside. Last one, GEMI. This is on the radar for, I haven't chosen my vehicle if I do short the crypto market. I'm invested in crypto, okay? But I am also a swing trader. I have investment. I have a completely different portfolio account that I have investments in, okay? But I talk to you guys about swing trading. Investing is just, it's too biased, right? What I'm talking to you guys about, this is pure price structure, things, probabilities, things that happen more often than not. How many times do I have to show you the triple R work? You know, like I'm printing money with this, and I'm ecstatic to share it with you. It's obviously resonating with plenty of people, but I don't want to talk investing too much. If we get a major market correction, yeah, I'm going to tell you the names that I want to buy when they're, you know, 30, 40, 50, 60% off of their highs, the best companies in the world due to a major market correction. Yeah, maybe I'll talk some more investing at that time, but I just, like, don't get upset because I say that I'm shorting silver or I'm shorting Crypto, right? Like I'm a swing trader. I look for opportunities, I look for probabilities, and I execute my trades without bias, right? So as I said, if I do end up shorting the crypto market, this one might be on my radar. There's another one where, what do you think I'm going to say? Let's lose this level, come back up, fail it. That's a short, baby. That is a big time short if that plays out. We would want to align that with Bitcoin doing the same thing, okay? We would want Bitcoin to be doing this, and at that point, I'll look at IBIT puts, Gemini puts, maybe Circle puts. I don't know. We'll see. Let's look at Circle. I haven't looked at this here in a while. Yuck. Yucky. You know, a lot of people were talking to me about getting long. Not a lot of, some people were asking me about getting long on these things. You know, this is why I told you no. This is why I told you no. We have not done any sort of change of character. This is in a downtrend until proven otherwise. What about this says long besides speculating, right? Besides trying to guess the bottom. I promise you that is not a strategy that you're going to leverage as well as something like what I teach you. Okay, the triple R's, all of my trend continuation patterns, reading market breadth, trading with the momentum of the market, all of that is going to be far more effective than tying your money up in this shit, because people were asking me back here. Okay, so for months I've been making money, and if you were just trying to pick bottoms on these names like this because one day you might make money, well, come on, we're swing traders. Let's make money now, okay? So we want triggers, continuation, confirmation, that kind of stuff, not guessing, not predicting, not speculating. It's not what I do, guys, all right? The market is just in a spot where I'm not going to get overly aggressive. I really want to see one of these two scenarios play out before I start initiating too much additional risk. Till then, I'll try to find something else to talk about, but you know, who knows? We got to take it day by day. If today is nasty and we get below this level, right, and then maybe we pop up on Thursday, Friday and fail, then you know, maybe into the end of the week we can take some shorts. We'll see, guys. Keep on coming back. Subscribe if you're not. I just saw a stat yesterday. I'm still learning this whole YouTube thing, but apparently more than half of you guys that are coming back and watching these things aren't subscribed. It's just a button. Hit that thing. All right, thanks guys. I appreciate it, man. I really am glad that I turned this camera on. This is giving me an outlet to share my passion. Anyways, stay safe, manage your risks. Let's go make some money.